Credible information, TDN at the station, TDN Africa Media, for news and entertainment, TDN gets the latest, TDN Africa Media,
Salone Talk on TDN Africa Media. Thank you for joining me wherever you're watching from. Me, Diana Kush.
And me, Theophilus Gbenda.
As always, inside the program, we will bring you the headlines on the front page of the newspapers. President Bio set sub-cabinet committee to tackle Kush crisis. This year, Sierra Leone among state institutions will on paper submit financial statements to the audit service. And forest guards them, they will accuse them of corruption and they sell protected forest areas there. This and more, this is this edition of the program for you, Salone Talk on TDN Africa Media. We will start off with the headlines on the front page of the newspapers we get this morning. The Open Space newspaper gets on the front page, Chief Minister vexed over drug abuse. Employment Minister starts on sound footing. We move on to the next paper, the Observer, Independent Observer newspaper. 203 school heads to retire next month. From the Independent Observer, we take the Global Times newspaper. The Global Times newspaper says Chief Minister engages drug enforcement agencies. Khan Justice says government has spent $13 million on subsidy. That's the Minister of Energy. IGP meets cyber experts from the United States of America. From the Global Times, we take Premier News. Judges preside over 802 cases. Sierra Leone pledges embassy in Jerusalem. FBC bids farewell to former director of Confucius Institutes. From the Premier News, we now take public review. On the front page, you get Chief Minister meets with all 40 decision makers to tackle drugs addiction. APC will not subdue to any plea from the ruling government, according to APC's chairman. From the public review, we will take now the Salone Times newspaper. The Salone Times newspaper say as citizens complain of bloated government, via secret appointment of chief of staff to complete chief minister's role. NCP gets new SOE mandates. Over 150 Sierra Leonean students get Chinese scholarships. CMAT group wraps up public disclosures for Arise Koya Chiefdom projects. And Focus 24/7 newspaper as Right to Access Information Commission Act swiftly Ecsl in hot waters. APC drops bombshell. who is fooling who. And we get the our newspaper, we now find the paper for today. The our newspaper report as lawyer rights, access to information on the 2023 election results, publication, right to access information gives 7 days ultimatum to Ecsl. Water Minister engages Goma Valley management, appeal for support, help Usman receive life-changing surgery. The magistrate Bangura detains 52 for Kush. Now this now the headlines them and some of the newspapers them for today publication. We will start off with
I'll start with the Owl newspaper, what we last deal with. Of course, the Owl newspaper captured the issue of lawyer Senge Mara, where he writes the Access to Information Commission and complains say insolicit information from the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone for let them go make a access information where relates to the disaggregated data of all polling station votes. So it will lead to rest the speculations as to whether the announced results they in line with the results there when we come out from the various polling stations and districts. So the Ecsl not being cooperate with them, and so it be writes the Right to Access Information Commission, where get the mandate for ensure say people get access to information. And upon receipt of the letter from the lawyer, the commissioner for the right to access information, not waste any time, he writes letter to Ecsl giving them 7 days for adhere to the lawyer request for information. So, and you know, with the longer speculation for say Ecsl, they put out the results where all man they asked for, including the international community, say the result will come out in September. So the question about when they ask, why wait until you are pushed and up to September? So anyway, let's see how the Ecsl will react to this 7 days ultimatum from the Right to Access Information Commission. And the penalty there is that if Ecsl not comply, then the commission, whether the Right to Access Information Commission, get right for impose a heavy fine on Ecsl or even institute court action against them because of illegal requirement for disclosed information.
You are aware of any individual, whether rights to access information before for solicited information from any institution and is successful?
Well, I go feel so because what happened when I say so, this is the first time we can begin follow up now and search. This is a test case. It's a major test case. We now be the follow up for know whether indeed people that we don't test the system and they get good or bad results. So this one now, in it at the public domain, and there is an ultimatum of 7 days. So after 7 days now, we'll ask the question: has anything happened? Has anything changed?
But Ecsl made it very clear, they will publish in September.
It is not enough for them to say we are going to.
Maybe it's just about 4 days more to September.
Yeah.
It's very close. So the 7 days ultimatum will definitely fall
well, that's
in
good.
September. Whether
So,
early September or mid-September or late September,
so
publish the
this is
information.
good. This is good. So whether Ecsl will just have to play a mind game or not, now no one says there is something where they compel the Ecsl. So even if Ecsl they put out now the data, we don't say nothing because Ecsl have put them. They put them out because of pressure from outside. So that alone is a slap on the face of the Ecsl.
So going forward to next elections.
Yeah.
Any lesson there for learn from this particular?
Beaucoup lesson.
Thirst for information from ECSL.
Beaucoup lesson there. No go put person a party person for go ahead ECSL. You do we will get the same situation. We will get the same situation. We all know what happened to Christian at top. They say, we're not okay with the result, let's go to police. I mean, so you say to him, what can I do? Don't put a partisan for head ECSL, now state capture. That's now one big lesson we will learn as a nation. Let us do everything we are doing in the best interest of the country. Anything short of that, now sabotage to the very constitution where they guide with performance as a nation.
One can also question the capability of the ECSL after June elections. They therefore wait that long. They therefore people therefore ask them.
It's a deliberate act. It's a deliberate act because they have something to hide. If me not get nothing to hide, why do I have to? Why do I have to wait?
So you make reference to Christian, but she
yes.
knows all the information.
Well, I cannot say so. I cannot say so because
a
council, yes, exactly. We're not going to delve too much. We got only talk about Christian top in your area on the fact say counting was still going on when she announced the result, and they say, "Well, not please let it go to police." Maybe there was not the pressure for let them release the disaggregated data because mind you, the SLPP be going to court for challenging the result, but it was never had in court. It was never had because they knew they tried the court system, but the court system not ever do anything for look into the matter.
That not always be the situation.
Well, it is bad. It not mean to say because it happened yesterday, if it happened today back, it happened back day before yesterday, which means the country is not moving anywhere. That's the point.
Not any example from other countries.
Kenya,
for instance.
Exactly. Well, even Kenya, problems be there because some of the commissioners they say gameplay, but then the courts go rule in favor of the current president. So that's the situation. But out of the commissioners there, if we get 3 of them work out, they say no, we cannot be part of this cooked up results. So again, the court system help out for Cisse, the current president, sit on the chair. But it's very likely that the election was rigged out there again in Kenya. So there's nothing to learn from Kenya as far as I am concerned.
But previous elections, we don't see the court overruled.
Oh yes, exactly. The court overruled. The court. Yeah, but there you see, the court system na precedence. If that first court, because they announced the report of electoral fraud, they annulled the whole election, say for Ridwan. Then this other court now, under a new election dispensation, despite all the evidences, the court ruled in favor of the current sitting president, which means the precedent has changed from one good one to one bad one, or one bad one to one good one, whatever way you put them. You see, so that, as far as I am concerned, there's nothing to learn from the Kenyan experience. So let us learn from our own experience by making sure that we do the right thing. Don't put a partisan for go conduct an election. It's just like APC, SLPP gets football match, then you go take referee from APC. What APC go win the game? APC go win automatically. Or you go take somebody from SLP. SLP wins automatically.
Just make, I remember the words of Alpha.
So,
he said you mama and make you back paper.
Okay. Oh, well, fine, thank you. Well, that's happened so for this election. So you see me? So it's just unfortunate. Then let's look at this. BO's secret appointment of chief of staff duplicates chief minister's role. Well, the information out is that the president, or it has pleased the president, to secretly appoint a chief of staff at State House. Secretly. Well, let's see if the name is there. We're gonna okay. Well, we'll go get the name later. We'll go get the name later. So let us focus on the issue right now, because the issue is bigger than the name. Yeah, the name can wait.
The individual really matters,
Yeah, but no,
the
it's about the
question.
appointment. No, the individual does not matter. It's
But we
about the
cannot question
appointment.
the president appointment. He
No,
has
we
the
can
right
question
to
him.
hire and fire
We can
at
question
any time.
Mind you, the president is serving us, right? He's our employee.
And he knows the
He is
best
our employee,
decision
not
why
a.
he decided to get a chief of staff.
Okay, well, the point here is that it kind of sounds like a duplication, because mind you, the role of the chief of staff under the APC now then change under the SLPP as chief minister. That's exactly the office. That's the same office. That's the office. So how can you have a chief minister and then you have a chief of staff? What is going to be the role of the chief of staff? Because now we now know what are the role of the chief minister.
So maybe there are clear roles and responsibilities.
Well, let them make it clear. Let them make it clear to members of the public, so we know that there's no duplication. But if there's any duplication, then the president did not act in the best interest of the country. We have every reason to question the president if we feel to say this action of his is not in the best interest of the country. The president gets obligation by way of an oath of office for ensuring the interest of the country a day above every other interest, including your very personal interest. Right? So we have the right to question him because he's our chief servant.
Definitely.
He's our chief servant.
We still could continue with this paper, and there's something very interesting I want to make we focus on. CMAT Group wraps up public disclosures for Arise Koya Chiefdom Project.
Oh, yes.
As chairman of the Association of Journalists on Mining and Extractive, seated here by my side.
Thank you.
I don't see you ever make any comment about Arise. There are a lot of issues with the company when we did it previously. When they bring in Arise, the now Minister of Foreign Affairs, now the Minister of Mines by then, we signed this contract. So what do you know about this Arise deal?
Well, honestly speaking, I cannot say more because I need to do further research. I get all my details right. This question is just coming up now, and I'm not very prepared for answering them in the way you put us. So because you want all the necessary details,
of course,
and I don't have those details now. I don't have those details now. So that's the unfortunate side of it. So rather, I will say it will be an assignment for me for go do my homework well. And the next edition, I will comment on this. If you're okay with that.
So you want to make me forget what I
No, well, yes, because of want of the necessary information. But what is clear is that Arise is a new company, and by virtue of the Mines and Minerals Act, right, and even the Environmental Protection Act, they do what they call an independent study where they look at the environmental, social, and impact assessments. How this mining activity will affect the community, environmentally, socially, and otherwise. So now in this study here, they entail. And this study now a criterion for let you get your license for operate as a mining company.
But they already operate.
Well, they already operate. Maybe these people don't come even before.
Before, exactly.
So that's what I said. I want to go do my homework well.
Because there was so much media publicity on Arise.
Yeah.
You know, we see a team of media journalists that go in the country, Benin. I think at Benin or
yeah, exactly. Oh, yes.
You know, and go, they come back, they do a lot of PR on this Arise company.
Yes. So, let's have our facts right, and then we'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we'll move on.
Yes. Then, and there's another issue I think so for talk about APC chairman. Talk say APC will not subdue to any plea from the ruling government. Quoting the APC chairman, Mikhailo Mansare. Well, from what this airline they say is that the ruling government they beg the APC say, but they follow on the foot. So yeah, we not can a parliament, we not cooperate with the government, because really the indication is that if the APC fail or refuse for cooperates with government in terms of going to the House of Parliament and then going at the local councils, it means we have a government we're not complete. Yeah, because the opposition is part of the governance structure. So therefore, it's a big embarrassment to the ruling party that the APC is still not in the House of Parliament. And even for the councils, the APC elected MPs and mayors or chairpersons, they are yet to take their seats for which they have been legitimately elected. So it's a big embarrassment to the government, it's a big embarrassment to Sierra Leone as a nation, and then the APC seem forget strong footholds on their stance, because even the recent media interview by the US Embassy, it gives credence to the APC standpoint and make the government look very, very funny.
We know say they don't be in talks.
Yeah.
You get mediation, people already mediate between the government and the APC. So I want to know what's the APC don't request for? What are the demands they want to make so far, apart from the position, say they don't in any governance system so far?
Well, you know, some of the things that the APC asks for, such as the Ecsl boss, the police boss, the military boss, and certain other individuals therefore resign from the positions. That's one. And then they say therefore redo the election. That's another one. And some other things there. But most of the things that they may fit to say is really not reasonable enough. Because for example, for go do back another election, me I not buy that idea there, because I feel to say it will be more complicated, right? For go do another election, it will be too complicated. Then for let the Ecsl boss, the police boss, the army boss, they all for resign. That is for me is very unreasonable. It's a very unreasonable demand. So what they me fit to say very, very reasonable. Now, for let Ecsl put out the disaggregated data, and the APC will not ask for that. That is very, very reasonable, and they must stand on that. And now, a whole lawyer said to ask for that. In addition to the fact, say, the US Embassy, the UK government, and the European Union will not put out a joint press statement asking Ecsl for put out the same documents. And Ecsl has still not put it out. And now that they're under considerable pressure to an extent that lawyers don't come inside, and now the right to access information self don't come inside. So let's see how the game unfolds. But for me, it's a very serious one. So for the APC chairman, national chairman, say the APC will not submit to any plea, which means the government really can beg them. He really beg them. Say, but they will beg now. When I can't look, I'll settle this thing once and for all. So maybe to say the negotiation where they go on, I don't know what are the new demands of the APC. But maybe to say they for stick to the disaggregated data, then they put them out. Now know exactly what happened during the election, and then they're ready for put the card on the table, and the government, the president, for ready for do whatever it can do, even if they're halfway. Even if they're halfway, exactly. For settle this. But then for the APC, it's not just about going to the House of Parliament or the elected MPs or the elected councillors or mayors taking up their positions. It is about the right thing being done. So that is it. So I think say we don't exhaust so much on the newspapers. We can now just talk about this. Judges preside over 802 cases. Of course, so many cases then for look into. So let's see what happens. So anyway, I think we don't say much about the newspapers. We can now just end up with this. Candace says government spends 13 million US dollars on subsidies. So I think because Candace say na Minister of Energy, so obviously this subsidy they go towards subsidizing energy. Even though now when you go buy 100,000 units, sometimes they will manage give you 20 or 25, right, units or 30 units. So where is the subsidy? How is the subsidy reflecting? And $30 million is not small money, and unfortunately we cannot ascertain it independently. For say indeed $30 million now that they use for subsidize, it is possible that now less that amount they go directly towards the subsidy, and then the chunk of it go somewhere else. We cannot independently ascertain that. Right?
Subject for investigation.
So we cannot investigate it even.
How?
There's no way we can investigate except we go to the right to access information commission. So let they tell we this $30 million when they sell a subsidy, how they spend them. And then they will show we. And then lastly, Chief Minister.
Because if you talk about subsidy to energy, then we as citizens, we from really they enjoy that subsidy on the unit cost what they give you.
Exactly.
But
well,
now the unit don't decline.
As far as we are concerned, this so-called subsidy is not reflecting.
At all.
It's not reflecting.
So
Because sometimes you will even get credits that you meter, but there's no light. There's no light. That alone will take government to court. Will take ECS to court. Because if I get me credits that me meter, then there's no light. Then the service provider is cheating me. So I will take court action. But in this country, you cannot. In fact, the court will take it serious even. So now we'll just go to the other issues then. So for me, it's a serious matter that the Chief Minister engages drug enforcement agencies. We will talk more about this, but these are just one of the steps then where the Chief Minister don't take because they don't appoint him as head of the sub-cabinet committee on the fight against Kush. We will deal with that exclusively.
Well, the very first issue we'll get for Talk to Pot, as we don't round up the headlines on the front page of some of the newspapers then. If you just enjoy me, this is Salone Talk on TDN Africa Media,
and me not Theophilus Gbenda.
So they go to this issue of sub-cabinet committee for tackle the Kush crisis, the Kush Wahala na Salone.
Yes.
The president decided to set up this committee where consists of the chief minister as the chairman of the committee.
Oh yes.
So they oversee the discussions or measures that they put in place for handling the issue.
Absolutely.
And we hope that the very first time they will look at how this push the inside the country.
Oh yes.
Because they really just want to look how they inside the country. Who that they bring this push inside the country.
Okay. So the president, Julius Maada Bio, don't decide for respond toughly to the issue of Kush. Because from the last cabinet meeting, I was not there, but I was told that the president said, if we sit down, the Kush take an effect, more than the effect where they take so now, then Salone will be a failed state. And if they sit down, they don't do nothing, then they will be held responsible. So because of that, the president in wisdom, I should say, decide for establish a sub-cabinet committee for tackle the issue of drugs with particular reference to Kush. And it make the chief minister as the chairperson for that committee there, so as for demonstrate the highest level of political will where that committee go get for come out with the best outcome. And of course, now a subcommittee comprising of key government line ministries. The police did it, the internal affairs ministry did it, the Ministry of Defense did it. I mean, other land government line entities then they inside the Ministry of Youth did it, Ministry of Finance did it because finance could be needed and all of that. I mean, information anymore, and they upped the game in the fight against Kush, and this was disclosed by no less a person but the newly appointed Minister of Internal Affairs, retired Major General David Taluva. He was on Radio Democracy this morning, and they asked her the question, what do you feel to say are the threats to internal security? Number one, it's in a lawlessness. And lawlessness is in different forms. You get politically motivated lawlessness, you get criminally motivated lawlessness, lawlessness relating to the use of the road by Okada riders, taxi riders, or drivers, Okada riders, in the way commercial, the way when the government vehicles, even government vehicles, the way where they can handle them, even disclose, recently they arrest one minister because the minister a cover in vehicle in number plates. And say as internal affairs minister, he is not ready to bow down to any favors or for do anything out of the way. He said even if the minister do the wrong thing, he said they go arrest them. And they don't start up. He said a whole minister was arrested, a whole ministerial vehicle was arrested, and then and they asked the minister for pay fine. So that's a good start. But then
it disclosed the name of that.
No, he did not. He did not. He did not. Well, he did not.
We
He did not.
want to make let the name and shame people.
Well, he did not. In this case, he did not.
For me, I'm not really convinced.
Well, I'm convinced.
Me not convinced. Let the name and shame whosoever do it.
Exactly.
Who is a minister?
Well, maybe we don't get that level there.
No, we don't shame. No, we don't take that woman when sell Kush. They walk out on the street.
Yeah,
they walk in behind her.
Oh, because
why if you hide them?
You don't hide them, oh. You not call the name. But the fact say first he even mentioned, he would have decided to not to mention that at all. But he mentioned say a whole ministerial vehicle was arrested because they covered the number plate. And indeed, it's a crime for cover number plates. But most time, when they see even soldier vehicles them, they cover the number plates them. I don't see lot of ministerial vehicles them. And they even see motorcar them behind the president in convoy, for instance. No number plates. They're not got number plates. So that is lawlessness.
Exactly.
No, that is lawlessness. Right? Which policeman get my team up to go hold presidential vehicle? Say, well, you know get number plate too. And let's just call that things them. Where the Minister of Internal Affairs say they put the security of the country to a great risk. It's a lawlessness, political instability, drug abuse, with particular reference to Kush, and then cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, now where somebody go just write something about you in a newspaper or sorry, not a newspaper, sorry, social media. Social media. Now that's cyberbullying. You go write something, they are not true. For tarnish somebody in character or for put a whole institution, the name, this and that.
Ridicule the person.
Exactly.
There's a lot going on right now.
And
we see the women's organization don't do petition against somebody, say that they do cyberbullying. Different media organizations they sign that petition. I don't know if you know.
So what are the person?
I think that one Dr. I think I guess Dr. Ellis like because I see people say the woman they very hypocrite. All that thing don't happen to other women they not ever sign petition. Just because I think they bring out some issues with the first lady. So the women's group they decide for sign a petition. Over 50 women's organizations sign up. Okay. You know.
So the key issue is that Dr. Idris said the woman is hypocrite.
The women they hypocrite because like you mentioned,
that is not bullying.
Don't get problem. They don't sign petition.
Yes.
They don't cyberbullying.
Yeah.
They don't write things against her when I lie.
Okay.
You know, but when in the, I don't know what's the problem with the first lady. They have their issue.
Okay.
I don't know why they will tune it up. So that's not my own concern.
Yeah.
But because if they bring out, they can see some pictures there to see the way they can write against the first lady. So the woman there, I think headed by Women's Forum, decided for doing petition.
Wow.
Say, I don't know whether they're important to
Okay. Well, I think we forgot more information on this so that we will throw more light on this subject matter probably next edition.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, but then back to the issues there where according to the Minister of Internal Affairs, they pose a threat to the security of the states. Lawlessness. And I am surprised that lawlessness remains a big issue. And in fact, number one on the list.
Who says so?
No, the Minister of...
The Minister of Internal Affairs.
Yes.
And when President, you know, one thing where the people will be happy that they come in, now for the issue of lawlessness. Because
When
the thing
President
is somebody, it will come with a very firm way for act on that issues. There.
So that
and you don't know 5 years. Then this man to Tavula, the minister, they can't tell me say...
But it's the fact. The man is just stating the facts.
Hey.
And the fact, which means the president...
That's not the one thing when people are happy.
So let me just say this.
Say President Bio don't come as president. He's a military man. We always
So-
perceive them as somebody who are very disciplined.
So that I am surprised that lawlessness remains a big issue and number one on the list for that matter. Because like you said, when President Bio in 2018 was taking the oath of office and he gave enforced speech to the nation, he lists the things the way they can do. He said lawlessness. If they can't tackle lawlessness.
Exactly.
So the fact saying lawlessness is still top on the list means the president in this first term failed woefully to address lawlessness. So the issue was saying, oh, Nabi Suleiman, Nabi this and that and that and that. It's not about that. It is about sincerity of purpose. Sincerity of purpose, very, very crucial. So I'm very, very surprised because he made it a commitment that he will tackle corruption. So he will tackle lawlessness.
Yes.
And of course,
Corruption, because they
we
look
see
for
lawlessness.
all apart
We
from
see
that.
lawlessness as work. We see that they tolerate mandem. Of course, we hear about Arata, the way Arata will go and perform all over the place. We see how Lael Rescue myself, you heard him come up during that protest action. A number of people they were, according to the report, were killed. That is lawlessness. You're not a policeman. I mean, no. Then now Lael Rescue is nowhere to be found. You see. Then of course we see lots of other things that happen. We even see mandem in military uniform. I don't know side day. We will see mandem in military uniform being clearly political, they dance, you know, all the kinds of they. So all that lawlessness where the president no tackle.
So what did this minister say?
It does highlight the issues there.
And you don't tell me how you intend for address them.
Well, it just talks saying a multi-sectoral approach they will take. That even as a minister for internal affairs or the ministry alone as Ministry of Internal Affairs not able for tackle the issues.
We want for collaboration.
Collaboration, exactly.
The council.
Exactly.
Because we talk about lawlessness, the other lawlessness we need for friends, like they want the way they cook in the street.
Okay.
They throw dirty water,
Or they pack motor streets.
Oh, no, they are lawlessness.
Yes. Some man they drive in the west slippers. You know.
And one thing I want for Green coming inside this way you talk about this. I want to commend the ministers. I don't know whoever they be, but the ministers that this pastor to some of them clean UU building.
Ministers.
Yes.
Na minister will grant it.
Well, the place we don't so.
Not the minister will grant it. For me.
It be also filthy. So and then the new ministers the way come don't think say this place is also ideal for me. Then we are there on Saturday. They supervise cleaning of that.
Me, I never say.
If you pass there now, you go gladly for personal that back of that you building.
Me, I never say bravo to them because it's not
a
work.
Commend them.
I know will not commend
because
them.
that now lawlessness.
I will not commend them. It is not their work. It is not their work.
Nobody cares.
It is not their work. It is not their work
No, but
as
at
ministers.
least commend them for,
I will not.
for taking that stance.
I will not commend them. I will not commend. It's not their work. It's not their work. And that's like when President Bio took over, right? As part of a strategy for addressing lawlessness. It begin going at the office there.
Yes.
It go to U building. 7:30. The president was there. It go to the other side there. Oh, you wanna go 7:30? They're locking the gate.
What did they do there?
Is that the president work? Now the president work that day for goodness sake. Put systems in place.
Exactly.
Right?
But let me be very honest. You believe me don't turn an eye so.
Yeah,
All
so
that rubbish,
there is a
everybody
Ministry of
there,
Works.
Everything there.
The Ministry of Works now is responsible. From what they say that they rehabilitate Miata Conference Hall. 10 and none on it.
So this, look, they get plenty for
You building an eyesore.
lawlessness.
You building environment is an eyesore.
Honestly.
And the Ministry of Works is supposed to be in control. Even the lift system. Now people in the government say lift system, so Monday 8th floor, so Monday 9th floor. They find it difficult for going at the office system because the lift is not working. And you building is a very important office hosting over 8 government planned ministries. So what is the problem? That UBD cannot function effectively. The ministers in Agorokano now, they should say, oh, we have a clean UBD. It is not their job, and therefore they do not deserve any commendation. As far as I am concerned.
As far as you are concerned.
Yes, you can go and commend them.
I think they did a very good job.
Commend them.
Exactly.
It's your right. It's your right.
Yeah.
It's also my right not to. And I will not. Okay? So back on this issue, this body where the government has set for handle the Kush issue is the highest body you can ever think about.
The highest body. We don't
Sub-cabinet. It's a sub-cabinet committee. The chief minister is head of that committee.
Okay.
And the committee was established by the president himself.
Okay.
So he's the highest body. The highest body. But what we will say is that they should have, that committee should have a terms of reference. What's at the work of that committee, we need to know. What are the time frame for get the difference? We need to know. Because with this body being the highest, they should make him the highest body with all the kind of political will, they should have no excuse not to give us the desired result. That is where I'm coming from. We need the desired result for make sure say the issue of Kush is tackled once and for all. And the Minister of Internal Affairs talk and say in their custody they get people them where they bring come in the Kush. They also get people them where they sell the Kush, and they also get people them back where they consume the Kush. But it makes emphasis on the need for rehabilitation of the Kush users, which for me is very crucial. So that is where we will end on this. I don't know if you have to add anything or ask any question, or we go to the next.
See that the committee do their work. Now, a nationwide issue, not just limited to the theater. They therefore go right across there and the length and breadth of
so now we want to see the terms of reference and how they work, how they work.
Yes.
And I think say, although a sub-cabinet committee, which means it's purely governmental. Otherwise, if we don't say it will find back. Yes, well, because it's a sub-cabinet committee.
Yeah.
So except they decide to form another committee when they below the cabinet level, then now you go also include other entities like the media, civil society, and others. But for now, it's cabinet.
Another high level.
High level. So make the handler. Make the handler. No, no, they say. No, no, but they. You sabi? You sabi?
Let the handler.
They sabi, man. They sabi.
So we then move on now to Ecsl. We don't need to talk about Ecsl. Ecsl, every day I think Ecsl must carry the vote.
Oh yes, oh yes.
But there must be an issue.
Ecsl.
So now the issue is that they don't fail for submit financial statements to the audit service.
Ecsl has become something else. It has become something else, and something needs to be done. It's not just about setting a committee headed by the vice president for look at logistical things where happen during the election. It's about looking for an independent body for look at Ecsl, the operation holistically and recommend to government. Because as far as we're concerned, Ecsl is running in the wrong direction right now. Last week, the headline came up, but I be out newspaper. Because we don't get the details, so we treat it with a pinch of salt. We say because the only one newspaper carrier, when the our newspaper, when a pro APC newspaper, we say we're not going to delve too much into it. But we promised we listeners and say we will go back and get more information and come back here and tell us say this is what we have found. And of course, I there today for being out to the information And the information is not just coming from me, actually, it's coming from a public document, a press statement where the audit service put out, right? And the information came out on the 22nd of August, 2023. I go read them. It says section 119(2) of the 1991 Constitution mandates the Auditor General to audit the public accounts of Sierra Leone and all public offices, including the courts, the accounts of the central and local government administrations, of the universities and public institutions of like nature, any statutory corporation, company or other body or organization established by an act of parliament or statutory instrument or otherwise set up partly or wholly out of public funds. Section 86(1) of the Public Financial Management Act 2016 states that within 3 months after the accounts of a financial year are closed at the end of a contemporary period mentioned in Section 44, the vote controller of every entity in Section 3 of subsection 86 shall submit to the Auditor General annual financial statement of the entity for the financial year. Section 1181(b) of the Public Financial Management Act 2016 further states that the annual financial statement of a public enterprise shall be audited by the Auditor General or other auditor appointed by him. The Acting Auditor General of Sierra Leone therefore wishes to inform the general public that the following institutions failed to submit their financial statement for the purpose of audits. Now you come out to the big sign now. You come to the big sign now where one is a Sierra Leone Housing Corporation. So not just Ecsl, Sierra Leone Housing Corporation. If I 8 the list there. So Sierra Leone Housing Corporation is not give financial statement for the year 2022. Then you get the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. They shall not give the financial statement for 2022. Then Sierra Leone Block Concrete Products Limited. They shall not give reports for 2022. Sierra Leone State Lottery Company Limited. They shall not produce financial statement for 2022. Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, SLBC. They shall not give the reports for 2022. Then you get the Sierra Leone Telecommunications Company. Then from 2020 to 2022, they not submit the financial statement, and so therefore they have not been audited. The worst of it, National Investment Board. Therefore, when they established them, they said, "But we are protected by the big office, so we didn't give no reports." And then National Assets Commission, they said they not give no reports. So having failed, that the press statement continue or the public notice continue, it said having failed to submit their financial statement for auditing, the above listed institutions should therefore collectively account for huge amount of monies generated or received as budgetary allocations or subventions from the government of Sierra Leone. So you see, so they get for supply big money to, they get for account for big money. So that is it. I mean, so not only Ecsl, but even William, Darling, SLBC, they self caught up in this. I think it's a big embarrassment. It's a big embarrassment. So I think we can go to the next issue. But if you're not getting any question for us.
Where an institution failed for submit financial statement.
Yes.
Why did they reimburse them? Why did they give them allocation, budget allocation?
Well,
next year?
that is very serious.
Because if you fail to submit your financial statement, then no provide any money for them. No,
I agree.
No, honestly.
I agree with you, of course, I agree with you. So, well, that is it.
And the other question, why we still get an acting auditor general? Almost here now they don't suspend like
over 1 year, they suspend the
deputy.
man for no good reason. Because they actually set up a committee, State House set up a committee for investigate the woman. Nothing, no, nothing. We're not hearing nothing. Nothing has come out of it, and so the Auditor General is still suspended, in deputy, and then somebody is acting. But the person somebody act now, don't write this letter so now. For say, the public would have taken notes. These people have not accounted. But the other thing, this new man is in the audit State House, in the audit the office of the Vice President, in the office of the First Lady, in the investigate the office of the Chief Minister.
The problem with the last Auditor General, I think that because he go audit
the last one now because he audit the office of the President even. But now they go discover that double dipping and that fake receipts from the office of the President. So he says, now they say, this is my game I know. I think we cannot maintain her. Let us suspend her. So the man was kicked out. You hear me? And even the committee they set up, the committee not found nothing for investigate.
Because she was just
so the committee now become dormant.
Exactly.
The committee has become dormant. So I think so.
If you don't prove her wrong, then you know how the original is there. This way, I think we can.
He bad. That is bad.
No. But just imagine, you see why most people do not want public office? Because of some of that thing there, so they don't get the free hand for do their job.
I know.
Because you go and disclose information of certain key institutions then you're not target for them.
Well, all that make the government's incredibility there under question. How can you, a government where say they can't tackle corruption? A government where they say we can't fetch.
What do you mean? I mean, they expect President to investigate that fake receipt business there and sack some people in the State House.
Oh yeah, because you don't expect the president to go fake receipts.
Oh, exactly.
You don't expect the president to go do double dipping.
Somebody investigate that
right? The fact said double dipping happened. Now the office of the president before not investigate them and take the necessary action. But perhaps, I'm saying perhaps, he did nothing about it. Perhaps.
And they target the woman and the deputy.
Exactly, for no good reason. You see? For no good reason. And they have no grounds. So now even the committee they set up, it has become dormant and useless.
About quality representation.
Well, that is it. So I think we can go to the last issue, if you're okay with that.
This is serious.
A very serious, Baba.
What are the power for group self-protected areas?
Well, because they take advantage of the fact say they are protected. You can see them. Where the baby you can see them on the screen.
I don't know if you know whether they add the
I don't forget the guy. Oh my God, I don't forget the guy's name, but he's totally SLPP, 1000% SLPP, and if he even stand for be the SLPP Western Area Region chairperson, holding that capacity.
Is he really competent to hold that position?
It is not about him being competent. It is about him being political.
Well, you can be political, but you get the capability.
It is not about.
You get the expertise for handling the.
Well, unfortunately, Diana, this is a very sensitive office because there's the forest guards they operate under a whole state establishment where they call NPPA.
National Protected Area Authority.
Thank you. Right? NPPA. So this is a state entity. And so the forest guards that they operate under the state entity when at the NPPA. But then they go appoint somebody for head the forest guards when an outright SLPP man where he's not so worried about the work. He's more worried about whatever he can get politically or through what he's making. Right? So, and the way and manner where they recruit the forest guards them was not in the best interest of the country. It was like creating jobs for the boys. Creating jobs for the boys. So now make you say, the guys then they take advantage. Then they go to areas there where somebody get land. They get all the documents. Then they put on their hand and sell them. I know people who are affected. For example, Femi Hebron is one person that is affected. In land na Sussex. They get all the documents then. They don't build it. They go, they cut the forest gas there. They cut more than half of the land. They sell them. The man say, I get documents. Oh. Nobody not listen to them. They don't build themselves now. And not only Femi Hebron affected. Other people are affected by these actions of the forest gas. Me, I don't go to the forest gas office. I went there, I go ask them, is it your job for determining whether I own this land or not own them? And look, I tell you something. On the 27th of October 2020, an announcement was made that the government will establish forest guards for help mitigate forest degradation, especially within 2020.
2020?
Yeah.
But they were there earlier than before.
No, NPA was there before that.
That.
No, they don't get forest guards. They don't get forest guards.
Because I can remember, yes, during the late Kolemba boy, I think they had NPA before the new government.
Yeah.
They began some forest guards.
Well, they were not so established. They were not plenty. They were not plenty. But in this case here, they recruited 500 in 2020. 500 forest guards were recruited. You can see them on the screen taking training. And they go through police and military training for that matter. The only thing they don't get is a pistol. Now you don't get a gun. Right? And then business, their duty. The newly recruited forest guards will also ensure that forests and state lands are protected from loggers and land grabbers. But the forest guards themselves now have become the land grabbers. Because according to the new head of the NPA, it said a number of forest guards have been sacked and a number of forest guards are under investigation for selling state lands and even areas that were not protected lands. They sell them.
Who did I give them power?
Who don't give them? Nobody don't give them. But they are taking advantage of their SLPP-ness. I tell you, nearly all the 500 forest guards that's what they talk about. So they were recruited not through any public mechanism. For saying we will send out application, let people apply. No.
Waiting that they see the boss they do. They say they fire.
It is
Because
possible.
You cannot just go and do things like that.
It is very possible. It is very possible. But maybe they say any state entity don't try to politicize it. Don't create it to create job for the boys. They will never be professional. That is what you are seeing now. You see? So that's the problem.
The authority again. Because I can remember there was a time that they really engaged the public. They made it on radio, they made it on TV. They educate the public. They may get a lawyer when I'm in the public relations. I mean, Julia and Totin. They may always they engage the public on their roles and responsibility. Waiting na their own responsibility and waiting that they expect from the public.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But now, absolutely, it's so dormant.
Well, it's dormant because one, perhaps it is not having the required supports. Because you got Boku state entities them will not get the required support and so they have become dormant. An example of that would be the Civic Education Commission headed by Khalilu Tutangi. Are you hearing about them again? They don't have the capacity to operate. And now,
they don't join the civic education.
Now, the Ministry of Information gets a component now of civic education. So what is happening now to the commission? That has become so dormant. During the election, you ever hear about them? When are they before go out, they educate the public on voters' education. But how can they go out when the person heading the civic education is SLPP? What has he got to go and educate people about voting? I said, but just keep quiet. So you see the point? So don't put people in very sensitive offices who are politically aligned, openly politically aligned for that matter.
No.
Openly.
Openly. Well, we will end with that.
Openly aligned.
And we know go that they go always they happy.
Openly aligned.
Because if you don't associate with them, you will never be.
That you will never have the result.
So
and in other words, you are acting against the interest of the country.
Anyway, with that we will say
it is wrong.
We will say goodbye to you as we come to the end of the show. Salone Talk on TDN Africa Media. Thank you for your time with me. We hope that you don't get a very educative program. Me and Anakoka, they say tata. And
me and Theophilus Gbenda, they say tata. Welcome to a new week. Visit we Facebook page on TDN Africa Media and get all the information there. I want to say thank you to the technical man, but Tijan Bangura, when we could able to come to now, I may know on this Monday morning. Thank you. Have a nice day.